Hey Dan, what's going on? It's Nick here. So I'll just start by saying I agree with 95, actually 100% of what you said in your speech. Most of the criticisms you had are pretty fair. I'm just gonna go kind of point by point though and explain my strategy behind it by each of these points. So the first thing you mentioned is the whole. I'll just get this out of the way first. The whole Mackie joke and then the whole excited thing. That was just me being stupid. I don't know what I was thinking. I apologize for that. I was just trying to lighten the mood, but I apologize if that didn't go over well. I get why that would have been not a good joke with hindsight. Obviously, I like you and Mackie both, so I don't know why. It wasn't meant in a negative way. I was just trying to make light of the situation. Being excited, I think it's a difference between the two of us. I get very excited with these competitions. I get really adrenaline. I get going. I was really looking forward to the comp, so I was just excited for it. So sorry. Number three, Kevin Martin. So I'll take the comparison. I'm personally kind of a player that if I think I can win those comps, I'm always going to take it. Like a lot of those comps are very predictable, being endurance comps or trivia comps. I studied so much for the trivia comp. The endurance comps, I was really willing to never sleep for those comps if I had to. I was really willing to put my entire game on the line for those comps, and it worked out. So even though I get why it's tough to be dependable on, or depending on those comps, I think it's also kind of a testament to my dedication, and I was willing to put myself in a spot where I could guarantee safety and really have the choice as to at home, which made a big impact in my game because I was able to get the person I wanted the final two with. The vote with Tyler, I think, was a good example of kind of where my social game was highlighted. Even though strategically I'm not sure how much sense it made to keep me in the house over Tyler, my relationships with you, Mackie, Slim, Adam, were really the only things that kept me another week in the game. Because really it was the four of you that just basically kept me in for another week. And I wish I could have repaid you guys more, but sorry, I had a randomized situation to have a ton of control there. But I think it was kind of the first real example where my social game really, really came in to save me. Week one. I think people almost forget about it because it was like 3 months ago at this point. But it was a huge move, and I'm really glad I did it. Week two, I didn't mean to win the veto. I really threw the veto. I don't know how I won that one. I added like an extra minute to my time. I've never been more surprised to win a competition in my entire career. I don't know how that happened. Week three, extraction. Yeah, no, week three was a weird one because I was pretty much content, almost like what Felix did at the point where he threw the extraction. I was more than happy to either win that comp or lose it because I wanted to be on the block or be safe. I didn't want to be backdoored, and once I was in the position to win the comp, I managed to convince Tara and Tyler, probably against their best interest, to throw the veto, which is a big thing for my game because I don't know if I would have still been here had that not happened. The whole transparency thing with advantage guilty. I probably played it more than I should have, but sorry. The whole final 9 vote situation. Honestly, I didn't even consider that a possibility. I will say, of all the things this game, all the strategy points I've always been on top of. Like, there wasn't really any point where I was super surprised. The only thing that did surprise me was that vote, and the reason for it being, I think, was because I didn't realize how close Mackie and Tasha were, and I didn't realize how much you viewed Adam as an adversary to your game, because Adam didn't really talk about taking you out, to me at least. So I never really had that on my radar much. I get why it was a good move for you guys with hindsight. I didn't realize it at the time, but I didn't really think of anything of it. Again, that was my first week of working. So I was just like in and out, take the vote, take Tasha out, done. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I didn't really realize how much you guys were thinking about the vote. So that was just a difference on our part strategically. I was not thinking about it that much for that vote. That was really the last round of the game where I was basically checked out of any strategy. The triple eviction was definitely my biggest regret of the game. And actually, in Slim's question, he asked me what my biggest mistake was, and actually I was wrong. This is my biggest mistake with hindsight. The reason why I didn't convince Felix to nominate you was 3 reasons. 1, I thought the two of you must have been closer if he was not going to nominate you that week. I guess I assumed that Felix had a better social game than he was playing, and I had more trust in him. Number 2 is I had more trust in him to do the vote than I should have had in him, because I didn't trust you or Tasha to evict Mackie, but he was convinced. He promised me that they were going to evict Mackie, and I said, okay, I'll trust you. Number 3, what I should have done with hindsight is I should have talked to you guys, I should have talked to Felix before the vote about nominating you and Mackie, along with Slim or Brandon or something, and save them. Because I think it's more I think it's more honest, and I think it seems more genuine if you do it before the HOH rather than after they win HOH. And after you won HOH, I didn't have time to talk to him. But the biggest reason why I didn't do it was because it was on election day, and I hate to make this an excuse, but I was working from 5 a.m. until midnight that day, no breaks during the day. It was a chaotic day. I mean, it was the biggest mess of an election day ever, and I didn't have a single break. And the only break I had all day was the triple eviction. So I didn't get the chance to talk to anybody beforehand, other than with Slim and Brandon. I said very briefly to the both of them, win HOH, win HOH, win HOH. And with Felix, I was just banking on that I would be safe. If it was a better time or I had more strategy, I would have, with hindsight, talked to Felix more, strategized for the triple eviction, and gotten him to not nominate Brandon and Slim. So that's actually my biggest mistake at the game with hindsight. So I completely get where you're coming from, because I was very vulnerable there had he not won HOH. So again, that was my biggest mistake at the game, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so that was basically my strategic decisions. And I would say, honestly, that from Final 8 on, my strategic game was lacking and my social game was lacking. Actually, my social game was lacking, I would say, Final 9, Final 8, Final 7. I think it was fine because I talked to you a lot. I talked to Felix a little bit. And then Mackie and I always had a decent relationship the week that he left, and then a little bit before that. So it was just Tasha where I was lacking after that. But Final 9, 8, and 7 were just insanely hectic, and I just really prioritized kind of like the bare essential strategy discussions without really getting into the deep parts of the game, which is my regret with hindsight too. So a lot of those decisions those weeks were not well thought out. They were just kind of going on gut feelings, and then after that I kind of just cranked the next gear and started doing things that were in my best interest in the game. So that's it. Dan, I've really enjoyed meeting you, and you're the last speech I've had to respond to. And fingers crossed, I'm sure we'll be friends after this game regardless. I really enjoyed talking to you. So, yep. See you, Dan.